everyone. Welcome back to Between the Chalk Lines. This is your host, Randy Nunez, and your resident Angels and Dodgers minor league and just in the know person, Jared Timms. Jared Timms, thank you for coming back onto the show. We're going to talk a little bit about the trade deadline because there was actually some news earlier today, but I just want to say thanks for coming back. I know your schedule is pretty busy.
Not a problem. You're giving me way too much credit. I know nothing about the Dodgers system other than a lot of the teams wear blue.
This is very true. Uh, but to start off, wanted to say thank you to BreakersToolbox.com. They are now the official promoter of Between the Chalk Lines podcast and website. You can also find the link to BreakersToolbox.com down below in the description. If you're a breaker or if you just like buying card breaks and spots in uh, breaks, it's new stuff, old stuff. It's on BreakersToolbox.com. If you hate waiting for people to claim and pay you, you can just have it set up right there on their website. You get your inventory set up, claims paid, it's all taken care for you. You don't take any piece of the profits that you make, just a simple monthly fee. And if you're a breaker that doesn't like to use Whatnot or other platforms, YouTube, Facebook.com, and stuff like that, Breaker's Toolbox might be the website for you. So check it out. There's a free 2-week trial. Sign up. I'm sure that you'll be pretty happy with it. So, with the promotions out of the way, we have an all-star game in a week. And I did want to just tell everyone the home and derby lineup has been officially finalized with Gunnar Henderson from the Orioles, Peter Alonso from the Mets, Alec Bohm from the Phillies, Bobby Witt Jr. from the Royals, Marcelo Ozuna from the Braves, Dolis Garcia, El Bomba himself from the Rangers representing the home team, and Teoscar Hernandez from the Dodgers, who we were just talking about a second ago off record. And I wanted to go back a few months. I was in Arizona to catch that, prospect game, and we mentioned a pitcher, Justin Robleski. Justin Robleski was actually brought up by the Dodgers just a few weeks ago, I believe, or a week ago. Um, and they sent off Matt Gage to the Mets, who also acquired Phil Matone from the Rays in exchange for the famous player to be named later. Um, but it looks like the Mets are trying to collect some arms, and the Dodgers are moving Justin Robleski a lot faster than you had thought. You said a few years down the line, but here he is already. It's early July, and they called him up. What do you think of that move?
Not only did they call him up, but he looked really freaking good too. I mean, upper nines on the fastball, the big breaker too. So, yeah, I mean, at the day and age that baseball's in right now, you can never. I mean, the draft's right around the corner. We might see
Yes.
the Angels draft pick up by the end of July for all we know. So I
Yeah.
you never know depending on how good a guy plays down the minors. But yeah, he looked real good. And kept seeing videos. I'm just like, where are the Dodgers getting these guys from? It's just constant. Like you DFA a guy, and it's like, man, these teams develop so well and so fun to see a lot of these teams do their thing. But man, yeah, he looked real good. Like I said, big fastball, and then the slider and the changeup looked real good too. So, uh, yeah, I'm at a loss for words with some of this development that teams are doing, especially watching the Angels do their thing.
Yeah, no, I went back and watched that specific episode, and you said he was a JUCO kid, went to Clemson, 11th round pick. Like, how do you miss a guy like that? And he goes all the way to the 11th round.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
almost the end of the draft.
I was gonna say you just gotta tip the cap to what the Dodgers do development wise. I mean, again, you see something in certain guys, and you're able to develop them right and build their velo up and give them another really good breaking ball. It just really shows what you can do with with good development in the minors, and the Dodgers just constantly do that. They were the first team that I saw in the minors using both TrackMan and Edutronic cameras at during bullpens. They had their whole staff down at the end of the bullpen in Inland Empire with cameras and laptops and just data going crazy. And I was like, this is the future right here. And I remember that was probably 7 years ago now that they were
Wow.
doing this. So it's crazy. It's crazy what they can do.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've been watching the young draftee from 2023 class, following his journey in the Arizona Complex League with the ACL Rangers, and he's constantly posting videos and pictures of the technology that the Rangers are using. So it's not just, I feel like the Dodgers were trailblazers possibly in that aspect. Um, Another team that has really good arms is obviously the Braves. Uh, Young guys like, unfortunately, Strider hurt himself this year. And does it seem like to you that there's a lot more pitchers that are going down to arm injuries?
Yeah, I mean, I think the body and the arm in particular isn't made to throw 100 miles an hour every single pitch. So injuries, unfortunately, are going to happen, and it's just kind of the age that we live in. So until something happens earlier on in players' careers, like you don't have them throwing 1,000 pitches every single start at the age of 12, like I was doing. We're going to continue to see these injuries, and unfortunately, and it's going to become more and more likely with guys that throw really, excuse me, really really hard. And I mean, we're seeing somebody right now with the Pittsburgh Pirates that
Oh,
is throwing really really freaking hard and looks really really freaking good, and I hope that he doesn't get hurt. But I mean, all signs point to those type of guys getting hurt, unfortunately, and you never want to see that. And it makes yeah, it makes development. I mean, you look at the Tampa Bay Rays, and they get the most out of their pitchers, and it seems like they trade their players at the right time. And
wow.
and yeah, that's first off, it's a testament to what they've been able to do. But second, I mean, they have a lot of arm injuries there too because they're getting the absolute most out of their pitchers. Max effort guys throwing 4 or 5 innings as hard as they can. And you know that with what they've done to get to that point, no matter what you're doing arm wise, whether you have the biggest arm, you know, the strongest elbow in the world, human body just wasn't made to throw a baseball 100 plus miles an hour every single day. So yeah, it's tough. It's an absolute grind out there, and you would like to hope to see these injuries calm down, but I don't know if it's gonna happen.
Yeah, I know. I know exactly the guy you're talking about. Paul Skeens, first overall draft pick in 2023, the Pirates. And he's been looking damn good. Like you said, damn good. And he made the All Star game, which I think might have rustled a few feathers in the fan base because he was called up in May, I believe, and has around 50, 60 innings pitched. Uh, Made it over some other guys that may have been a little bit more deserving, but you know what? You can't deny the talent that the kid has. Uh, Possible NL Rookie of the Year, possible NL Cy Young votes. I'm not gonna say he's a Cy Young guy. Definitely not gonna get the award. He might get like one or two votes, but uh, yeah, you just can't deny what they had the Pirates have over there.
Yeah, I'm an Angels fan, and I would much rather see Paul Skeens pitch over Tyler Anderson any day. So even if it's just 1 inning, so that's just me. It's better. It's better for baseball that Skeens is in there. You get so much more publicity out of it. So nothing against Tyler Anderson, and 89 miles an hour, but I'd rather see Paul Skeens pitch for an inning.
Yeah, and then getting into the Pirates and getting to the core of what we were here to talk about, trades. Um, in this month of July, even week and a half, we're a week and a half, it's the 10th of July, and June, the Reds have acquired outfielder Austin Slater for in cash for left-hand pitcher Alex Young from the Giants. Sorry, to the Giants. Guardians traded cash to the Giants for right-handed pitcher Spencer Howard, uh, also starting pitcher, and the Brewers traded away shortstop Gregory Barrios for right-handed pitcher Aaron Tavalli, who's also starting pitcher. So it sounds like starting pitchers are the prime target for these guys that are trying to be contenders, whether it be the wild card or the first place, because Guardians, Brewers, they're already in first place in their respective divisions. The Mets got like Matone, like I said earlier, and Matt Gage, both pitchers. Mets aren't going to contend most likely this season, maybe next. And then obviously the biggest trade so far this year was Marlins sending first baseman slash second baseman Luis Arias after just 1 year to San Diego for outfielders Dylan Head and Jacob Marcy, as well as right-handed pitcher Woo Suk Go, who's a reliever. Um, he didn't even last this full season with Padres, but yeah, the Marlins are in full sell mode. The White Sox are going to be sellers. Today, as I mentioned, we're talking about Pirates, Skeens, Jones. Um, they're connected to the Angels with outfielder Taylor Ward, not to be mixed up with Taylor Blake Ward, Taylor Joseph Ward. Uh, so, does this have any legs, Tim's?
Tis the season. Read what you want into these things, but at the moment, doesn't sound like there's any real legs to it. Um, at all. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But at the moment, as we're talking here at 9:30 Pacific Standard Time, is it 9:30? Yeah,
Yeah,
9:30 Pacific
around
Standard
9:30.
Time on the 10th of July. There isn't much there now. You never know what could happen. It could just all of a sudden it could all of a sudden happen. But yeah, there isn't much steam to a Taylor Ward trade. I was told that multiple teams have contacted the Angels about Taylor Ward, amongst others as well. And I'd expect the Angels to be very active in rumors here in the next couple of weeks, headed up until the trade deadline for sure. Now, are they going to trade anybody? I don't know, but we'll definitely see. Funny, kind of funny story here. I was on the phone with Taylor Blake Ward when that came out, and he was like, "Well, I guess I'm getting traded to Pittsburgh." I was like, "What are you talking about? Are you going on an assignment to Pittsburgh? Like, what are you writing for the Tribune?" And he's like, "Nope, someone just tweeted that Taylor Blake Ward might be going to the Pittsburgh Pirates, or Taylor Ward's going to the Pittsburgh Pirates." And I was like, "Well, we'll see where this takes us." And there wasn't much to that story at all. So yeah, teams are checking in. I don't know asking prices or anything like that, but teams are definitely checking in on Angels, and it could be a very active July for them.
Yeah, and it's like you said, it might be just be calling to check in. And it sounds like Carlos Estevez, who won reliever of the month for June, 8 for 8 in saves, gave up 0 runs, I believe only 2 hits in 10 innings, is primed to be a rental trade, and the Angels could use, you know, possibly sending him away and giving Ben Joyce a shot as a closer. Uh,
Yeah, absolutely. I love Ben Joyce. He's fantastic, fantastic person, fantastic human being. I think he deserves. He's got the stuff to be a closer for sure. He's got the mentality to be a closer. As well. The question comes down to with Estevez. A couple questions actually is do you want to remove him from the clubhouse? because he's a fantastic clubhouse guy, and I'd love to see the Angels find a way to bring him back because he's a great clubhouse guy. The next question would be if they do end up trading him, what the return looks like because I believe he's still owed quite a bit of money, even though he's got 1 year left now. This is the last year until he becomes a free agent. Yeah.
I believe he's
So
owed around $3-ish million.
okay, yeah. So we'll see what the return is. I know that's not a lot of money, but yeah, we'll definitely see what a return might look like for him. And those type of guys are highly sought after this time of the year. I mean,
Hmm.
it takes a Carlos Estevez to just one Carlos Estevez to make a push for the World Series. I mean, a team that already has a really good closer, Estevez would be a damn good eighth inning guy or seventh inning guy. And that's we saw the Astros win the World Series a couple of years ago on their pitching alone, where they were able to get their starters into the fifth or sixth inning and let their bullpen do its thing. And that was a three-headed beast that was a crazy three-headed beast of Ryan Presley, and then two other guys in the back of that pen that were just absolutely unstoppable. So yeah, if the team is a Carlos Estevez away from making a push for a World Series berth, or a playoff berth, absolutely he's a good piece to have. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, I agree there. I mean, the Rangers had Leclerc last season in the postseason. Kind of, just slammed the door shut on most teams.
Yeah.
It was pretty hard to get anything past them. Um, as far as any other names that really pop out, I mean, I'm seeing Luis Robert Jr. from the White Sox and Garrett Crochet, even possibly Michael Kopech, who just threw an immaculate inning today, I think it was, to finish off the game and get the save. Um, what other names are you hearing, or is there anything else in the rumor mill?
Yeah, a team that strikes me as really interesting is the Toronto Blue Jays and what they do. I think they're what 6, 7 games out of a playoff spot, and there are a lot of guys that can contribute to a playoff push there. I mean, you're talking Vlad Guerrero, Bo Bichette, amongst others. I know they got some starting pitching there that they may or may not move. These are names. It feels like this happens every year where you get some big names like Bichette and Vlad, and it's like, well, they should move these guys, or they might move these guys, and it never ends up happening. And that could be the case with the Blue Jays here. But they're in a really weird spot. They win a couple games in a row. They're 3 games out of a wild card spot, and they're buyers. They lose a couple games in a row. They're 10 games out, and all of a sudden it's like, ooh, maybe they're sellers here. So yeah, the Blue Jays and the East is wild, is crazy. Like
Yeah,
you don't know
yeah,
who's gonna win that. The East is like stupid good. That's a fun race to watch down the stretch for sure. So
hmm
the Blue Jays in particular are a team to keep an eye on here over the next probably 2 weeks up until probably a couple days before the deadline, as to if they are contending, or if they're going to sell some pieces away. Same thing goes with the Rangers too. Rangers are 6 games out. If they lose a couple games, they're 10 games out. They win a couple games, they're 3 games back. So I don't know how much they have to buy, or if they really want to go buy anybody, but that's yeah, another team that could be selling and would be really interested to see what they offer. A Scherzer type of guy, somebody like that.
I didn't even think about the Rangers, but you're right. I mean, the Astros have kind of flown by them. Uh, the Astros could fly by the Mariners. The Mariners are possibly going to be buyers. They've already sold off kind of their leftovers to the Braves earlier on in the offseason and earlier in the season with White and I believe Kelnick were traded away to Atlanta, and then White was flipped to Anaheim,
Yep.
and I don't think he lasted very long with the Angels in the minor league system. Um, so I mean, I know it's weird to say because the Dodgers spent almost $1 billion in money, but if you look at that injured list, they have a lot of starting pitchers that are good. Like you said, the Rays tend to flip guys at the right time. Glass now, injured list. Yamamoto, injured list. They have some holes that they need to fill. Robleski was called up to kind of help there, but they don't have a true ace, I guess you can say, and they have been said to want another outfielder, and they're obviously down Mookie Betts, so Bo Bichette is a possible fit there. Um, what are we thinking about the Dodgers? Are they gonna do another crazy, stupid thing here and send away a ton of prospects so they can make the playoffs and try and get another ring?
I mean, it's the Dodgers. You look at how much they spent this offseason, and they're gonna have to do crazy things for sure. But also, it's the Dodgers. Look at their IL list that you just mentioned, and the fact that they're still competing for a playoff spot is absolutely stupid. And I haven't looked at their record, but I believe they're still in first place in the NL West.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was gonna say they're probably still in first place there, and by a couple of games at least. So yeah, I with the Dodgers probably don't need to go by because, as the old saying goes, their trade acquisitions are going to end up being Mookie Betts, Yamamoto, those type of guys who come off the IL, and all of a sudden that team is just a team full of all stars again. Now, does it hurt them to go get a Bo Bichette or Garrett Crochet? I mean, does it hurt to you know go get better players, and all of a sudden the deadline's over, and we're talking in August of an infield of Freddie Freeman, Bo Bichette, Mookie Betts, whoever they want to put at third base, or a starting staff of Tyler Glasnow, Yamamoto. If Clayton Kershaw ever gets healthy, Clayton Kershaw and Garrett Crochet, like is that a bad rotation there that they're throwing out there? Probably not, alongside with plenty of other guys that they have. So yeah, they could stay pat and probably be okay. They could go make a couple trades and get it even better. And I don't expect them to be quiet at the deadline. I'd be shocked if they were. They spent so much money, you can't be quiet.
yeah. I mean, like I said, spending that much money, you can't go quietly in the night, as it's been said. Um, and thank you for reminding me. These standings are, as of last night, going into today: AL East, Orioles first place, New York Yankees behind them. AL Central, Guardians first place with the Twins behind them. AL West, Mariners first place, only team in the West with 50 wins or more, and the Astros right behind them. In National League East, Phillies, they're doing pretty good. Central Brewers, kind of a surprise team to me. But NL West, you got the Dodgers, and the Padres are only about 6 games behind them, and that could flip real quick. So, are there any sleeper teams that you think may buy?
Ooh, I mean, you mentioned one right off the bat. I mean, I think at the beginning of the season, if you told me that the Padres were going to be in second place come July the 10th, I think a lot of people probably would have laughed at you a little bit there, because of the trades that they did make and team and players that they did lose. But also that's still a very good team there that should be competing for a wild card spot year in and year out. So I don't know if the Padres are necessarily a sleeper team, but the Padres could definitely buy. If you want a real sleeper team that could buy, and I don't think they would buy rentals. I think they'd buy long term. We already mentioned them is the Pittsburgh Pirates. Their rotation is young and disgusting. They're they're a couple, an outfielder or two away for sure. But I mean, if there's a chance they can go get somebody with 3, 4, 5 years of control left, absolutely. I mean, I don't know if they would go get a guy like Garrett Crochet who's got quite a few years left and make that rotation even better, but you definitely could go get somebody like that. I mean, we saw not as at a high scale, but I mean, the Angels went and got Max Stassi in a year that they were 10 games out of 10 games under 500 or something like that, and nobody was expecting them to go by. And Max Stassi ended up being a nice addition for the Angels. Unfortunately hurt by injuries in his career, but yeah, I always look for teams that are going to go buy those pieces that help them not just this year but after that. And the Pirates are primed for to do something like that.
So the Pirates possibly could be contenders in a couple of years.
The Pirates, I think, are contenders this year. I mean, they're not too far out of a wild card spot as it is.
That's
So
true.
if
That's fair.
they want to make a push, they could definitely go do it. And that's why Taylor Ward makes kind of a lot of sense for them too, because Ward still has 2 years after this year
Yep.
of team control. He's not that expensive of a player. And it's not like he's a rental and you're just gonna go give up players for this year and make a push for this year. No, Taylor Ward helps you in the next 2 years. He's probably a leader in the clubhouse that hasn't necessarily been there and done it before, but is a pretty freaking good player and has played in the majors for quite some time. And he lines up well with the Pirates. So like a couple weeks from now, if we're talking about Taylor Ward wearing a Pirate uniform, it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah. Yeah. And I saw you put out a tweet on X where you said that if this were to come to fruition, you would probably get something around a 4 to 10 line guy and then someone unranked. So, what are we looking at if we were to say this happens right now? We're going to send Taylor Ward to Pittsburgh and we get something back from the Pirates.
Yeah, funny. I think if you look at the Pirates system, you're not going to get the top four guys in their system. I mean, top five guys. You're not getting a guy like Paul Skeens. You're not getting a guy like Jared Jones probably for him. You're probably not getting a guy like Bubba Chandler, their top prospect right now. And you're probably not getting Solometo. And then you're probably not getting Tamar Johnson. Other than that, you can probably package a couple guys like that to after that together. I think that you could get a low end top 100 prospect, so somebody in that 80 to 100 range if you're into looking at prospect rankings like that. Or a top five guy in anybody's farm system, really, as long as it's not the Angels, because the top five guy in the Angels farm system isn't all that impressive. But if you told me, you want to put it in Angels terms, if you told me that you got Caden Dana and and Walbert Urania for Taylor Ward, I would say that makes a lot of sense. Caden Dana, who's a top back end top 100 prospect, and a piece like Walbert Urania, who's throwing absolute fuzz but can't really find the strike zone with a really good out pitch and the makings of a third good out pitch. Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense to get like a Caden Dana and a Walbert Urania type guy.
Okay, so and if I recall correctly, King David just broke the top 100 with
Yep.
Baseball America and LMB Pipeline. He's sitting around the high 90s right now in
Yeah.
rankings.
Yep.
So something like that.
Yeah. Yep. Somebody like that. I mean, if you wanted to put a an actual name on somebody in Pittsburgh, Mitch Jebb is somebody that the Angels liked in the 2023 draft. So
Okay,
that make a lot of sense. He was a Pittsburgh Pirates second rounder last year. I think their sixth overall prospect would probably highlight the that type of trade, I think.
got it, got it. Well, thank you for your input on that. And I did want to ask one last question because the last time we did talk draft, and draft is not too far away. Um, has your uh, opinion on some people changed?
Are we talking just players in general, or are we talking the Angels?
Players in general, like top 10. What
Okay.
are we looking at top 10?
Travis Bazana is the best player, probably going to be the best player in this draft on the hitting side of stuff. I believe that Chase Burns is the best pitcher in this draft. Though Hagen Smith is an absolute stud. There's just a lot. I think there's more question marks on Smith. There's some injury past, and there's also the chance that he's a really freaking good reliever, and not a starter that do you take him in the first? Do you take him in the top 10 picks? It all boils down to what at the moment what Cleveland wants to do with that first pick. There's a lot of money with that pick and money talks.
Mm.
Do they underslot and not take Bazana, or do they take Bazana, who is somebody that reminds a lot of people of Jason Kipnis?
Okay.
So yeah, I don't know. And from the Angels standpoint, the only guy that I don't think is going to be there is Travis Bazana. I think that there is a 0% chance that he is there. Anybody else, including Charlie Condon, including Jace, including Jack Coglianone, including Chase Burns, could all be there for the Angels. I truly do believe it. Now that could be like 5% that there's a chance they're there, but there's still a chance they're there. I'm not ruling anybody besides Travis Bazana out right now.
Okay, so I have heard the name Trey Yesavage. I
Trey
believe,
Esovich,
yeah,
yes, he's savage.
is you're savage. Sorry. Um, is he a possibility for the Angels? Do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that I don't know if he's necessarily their fallback guy, but I think that he is their safe pick right now. It's somebody
Yeah.
who is probably a starter, probably not a star of a starter, but probably somebody who gets the job done, probably gonna put up number three rotation guy type numbers. Not gonna overpower anybody. The fastball can kick it up to about 96, but we'll sit in the 94, 92 to 94 range. Has a split finger, which worries me in the elbow. And that's his best, one of his best pitch. Has a nice slider, as well as I think he's got a cutter, if I'm not mistaken. But good feel for the zone. I think definitely remains a starter. Is it a slam dunk of a pick? Is it the superstar name that you want to see the Angels pick? I don't think so, but and I do think there's going to be better players on the board with you, in my opinion, if you Savage is there for the Angels. It's just if the Angels agree with me or not, and I don't work for the Angels,
No, you
unfortunately.
know, unfortunately. Who was it again that you said that he shouldn't pick? It was some white, I believe. I don't even see his name too much anymore in the mock
I
drafts.
if I said Angel shouldn't take him, he's not on the board anymore because there isn't that guy. There's not one guy right now that I'm like, don't take him. The closest guy that it comes to for the Angels that I would say don't take him is James Tibbs, the Florida State outfielder. But
Okay.
other than that, I think that the Angels can do a very good job of reloading the farm system and reloading the farm system quickly here with this draft, especially with the amount of money that they have. There are guys that I like less for sure, like Tibbs, Savage. Those guys aren't slams dunk superstar names, but they are major leaguers that are going to contribute at the major league level at some point in their careers.
All right, cool. And just to wrap it up here, I know you're keeping an eye on the minor leagues for the Angels, obviously. That's your thing. You said from the beginning Keaton Dana was your guy. And it's been Keaton Dana who's been performing down at the Double A affiliate with Rocket City Trash Pandas. And we know that I was a little bit more on the side of Sonrata. Nelson Rada has been struggling a little bit. But I have watched a couple of the Trash Panda games, and he's still a speedy guy there. He's stealing bases and running around really well and doing well defensively. But offensively, Nelson Rada has not put up the numbers that I hoped he had. Uh,
Yeah, yeah, as for Rada, I think that at the major league level, if he is a 100 WRC plus, a league average guy, you're happy with that because I think that he is I don't want to call him a superstar defender, but I think that he contends for a Gold Glove if he plays 130 plus games in the outfield every single year. I am that impressed with him defensively, and if he gets on base 34% of the time, 35% of the time, I mean, he has a chance to steal 50 plus bases. So that's going to be very valuable at the major league level and being a very, a league average hitter, that can steal 30, 40, 50 bases for you, and plays really freaking good defense. Like there's nothing wrong with that. Um, I gotta remind everybody, I think he's still what, 18, 19 years old right now.
Yeah.
And playing in double A, that is very impressive for him to put up any numbers that are above 200 batting average, because you just don't see this very often. I mean, the conversation at the beginning of the year was, do you want him to struggle in Tri City because he's not going to hit in Tri City, or do you want him to go struggle and hopefully be on a winning team in Rocket City? And the Angels went with the Rocket City option. I don't think
Yeah.
this hurts his development by any means, but I definitely think that we could see him there for another year or two. And then you put him in Salt Lake and see, let him go hit there in a a little league field ballpark there where the ball flies out. So as far as Caden Dana goes, I mean, yeah, he's been my dude. First time I watched him, I said he's a top 5 prospect in the system, with the ability to be a top 100 prospect really, really soon. And I'm very glad that I did say that, because look where we're at now, and it makes me look really good. So
Yeah. Looking at his numbers, Rada in 285 at bats has 1 home run. Is hitting 225 with 17 RBIs and 25 stolen bags for an OPS of 558. So, like you said, not an amazing season. He's still only 18 years old. He can't even have a drink of alcohol. So, and he can barely drive legally here. So yes, I would say this is a successful season for him. But I agree. Definitely let him season a little bit more. Go back to Double A next year. Um, but Caden Dana, major leagues next year.
he's going to get every opportunity to fight for a spot. I think during spring training. Do we see him in September get a start? Maybe as well. That's definitely a possibility. But yeah, he's going to contend for a starting pitching spot, and I think this offseason will tell us a lot if the Angels need to go get another starter, and if they believe that Griffin Canning, and if Tyler Anderson's still around, and
Yeah.
Patrick Sandoval's hurt, and Chase Silseth hasn't pitched very much this year at the major league level. So there's a lot of developing still to go there, but man, this Angels pitching staff actually could be a lot of fun, especially hoping that Patrick Sandoval comes back healthy, and you got Dana, you have Reed Detmers, who I forgot to spit in there. So there's the makings of a pretty freaking good rotation. You just need to put it all together and get these guys healthy.
I entirely agree. Detmers, Canning, still Seth, Sandoval. Those are all guys that could be up at the major league level right now and helping them win games. But unfortunately, due to various injuries or just something, it could all be just the yips too or mental. Um, I don't know. We don't know. We're not working for the Angels. We're just speculating here.
And dare I say, Chase Burns?
Chase
Why not?
Burns, yes.
Why not?
You know, put it out in the universe. Just hope.
Dare
Angels.
we say Chase Burns in an Angels rotation with Caden Dana, Reed Detmers, Chase Silseth? I mean,
That
that's
would
a
be
fun
awesome.
four right there next year.
Yeah,
That's a
that would
fun
be
four.
great. Uh, well, Jared Timms, again, thank you for taking out time of your day or your night, I should say, and joining me to talk about all things baseball all the time. You guys know how it is here at Between the Chalk Lines. Signing off, your host, Randy Nunez. I'll see you next time.